Hey, good morning, everybody. Sarasota Tim, coming to you from Boynton Beach, Florida, here in South Florida on the East Coast at the Boynton Inlet. I got the pump house behind me. That's the pass. The boats go out from the intercoastal waterway on the inside out to the Atlantic Ocean out here. I thought that you would like these optics out here, and this video is about inspiration and motivation. We call it Crushing It for Christ. And I have a devotional book here that I've been reading from for quite a while. It's a video series that I've been doing. It's called Jesus Calling, and it's just a motivational, inspirational book with devotionals that are derived from what the Bible talks about. It's written by a woman named Sarah Young, and it's no different what the readings are here than going to church and a pastor just pulling some scriptures from the Bible and elaborating on them. And that's what Sarah Young's done here. In fact, to verify how she comes up with her synopsis on the devotional, there's actually scriptures listed below it that pertain to how she comes up with this. And this is written by an individual. This is not just the Bible reading, but that's what you get when you watch a lot of things online and when you go to church. They just elaborate in more modern English and in a way of making you understand what the Bible is trying to teach you. And it's not wrong, it's not 100% reading it from the Bible, but it's a way to bring people in their minds, to get them to listen, to think about things about what the Bible talks about. So without further ado, today is March 5th, 2024, and welcome to this program. If you'd like the program, I appreciate if you consider subscribing to my channel. We have other things that we talk about, reviews, travel, Social Security, retirement, and things like that. But if you're joining me for the motivational devotional, which we now name Crushing It for Christ, let's just get right into it and read today's devotional. And here we go. Make friends with the problems in your life. Though many things feel random and wrong, remember that I am sovereign over everything. I can fit everything into a pattern for good, but something transforming you little by little into the masterpiece I created you to be. The very same problem can become a stumbling block over which you fall if you act with distrust and defiance. The choice is up to you, and you will have to choose many times each day whether to trust me or defy me. The best way to befriend your problems is to thank me for them. This simple act opens your mind to the possibility of benefits flowing from your difficulties. You can even give persistent problems nicknames, helping you to approach them with familiarity rather than with dread. The next step is to introduce them to me, enabling me to embrace them in my loving presence. I will not necessarily remove your problems, but my wisdom is sufficient to bring good out of every one of them. That was powerful, folks. We're going to elaborate on that, and I can't wait to get to it. The scriptures, there's two of them that follow after that, and the first one is from the New Testament, the book of Romans. Paul wrote to the book of to Rome. We are assured and know that God, being a partner in their labor, all things work together and are fitting into a plan for good to and for those who love God and are called according to his design and purpose. And then the next one is another New Testament verse from 1 Corinthians that Paul wrote to the church of Corinth in chapter 1, verse 23 and 4. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and foolishness to Gentiles. But to those whom God has called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. So let's break that down. And let's get back to the more modern English of what those scriptures were talking about. And in the beginning it talks about make friends with the problems in your life. Can you make friends with your problems? Wow. Though many things feel random and wrong, remember that I am sovereign over everything. I can fit everything into a pattern for good, but only to the extent that you trust me. So it's only going to work this thing with God and working out your problems is to the extent that you trust Him. You know, you reap what you sow. If you don't put a lot of faith into your prayer and your petitions to God, you don't believe, you're weak in your faith, I don't think you can expect much. It's those that have strong faith, that know and believe there is a God, a creator, and someone that is sovereign over everything. And you can come to Him with everything. But look what He says though. It's not going to go away. Every problem can teach you something, transforming you little by little into the masterpiece I created you to be. So you're going to be a masterpiece. And it's going to take little by little, though, to create it. Masterpieces aren't just built like that. It takes, I mean, what does it take to make a masterpiece, right? So it's going to take both God and you working with God to create the masterpiece that He has in you, that He sees in you. All right? And then it says, the very same problem can become a stumbling block over which you fall if you react with distrust and defiance. All right, so you don't trust and you're defiant and listening and doing what you know is right. It's going to be a stumbling block over which you will fall. The choice is up to you, he says. And you will have to choose many times each day whether to trust me or defy me. So, all right, I'm defiant. Now I'm trusting. I'm defiant. Now I'm trusting. You're like the wave being tossed to and fro. The Bible talks about in the New Testament. Your faith isn't unwavering. You're being moved around by your emotions, by things that happen, by things you listen to, by things that you're hearing, rather than being steadfast in your mind and being, trusting and not being defiant. He says the choice is up to you. You'll have to choose many times a day. Just remember that. Just remember that. Many times a day. Is this one of those times you're not trusting? Is this one of those times you're feeling, unhappy or things are worrying you? Well, get back on the wagon. Get back on the bicycle. The best way to befriend your problems is to thank me for them. Thank you, God, for these problems. Man, that's a tough one there, but he says the best way to befriend your problems is to thank me for them. Why? This simple act opens your mind to the possibility of benefits flowing from your difficulties. The benefits that will flow from your difficulties. I've had a lot of difficulties, and in the end, I did see there were benefits. It taught me something. It built character. It postponed me to doing something that I said I was going to do, and I saw that a better thing came out of it. So if that shoe fits, buy yourself another one, same size. The simple act of befriending your problems, this simple act opens your mind to the possibility of benefits, flowing nicknames, helping you to approach them with familiarity rather than with dread. All right, so if you nickname your problems, give them a nickname, and then the benefits will help you approach them with familiarity rather than with dread. Okay, so, oh gosh, I'm dreading this issue. But if it's familiar and you give it to a nickname, let's say it was worrying about this or that, you gave it a nickname, well, now it's familiar to you. And now all you have to do is just continue multiple times a day, coming to God to ask Him to walk you step and step through it all, and to build your character, and to thank Him in advance for what He's going to do and for these problems. That's right, that's what He says. Thank Him for them. Being a Christian, see folks, isn't so like, if you're new to God and religion, or you're a young person, you never were brought up in church, it isn't like you say these magic words, they talk about repenting and inviting Christ in your life, and then everything is peachy, hunky-dory. No, that's when the problems start. That's when the character building comes in. That's when you start swimming upriver, you've been floating downriver with everybody, all the masses of the world. They're just doing whatever feels good, watching whatever they want to watch, doing whatever they want to do, listening to whatever they want to listen to. And all of a sudden you say, you know what? I'm going to try and do the opposite. I want to do better. I want to work out. I want to start reading my Bible. I want to talk to God more. I want to quit drinking. I want to quit smoking. I want to be kinder to my spouse. I want to be kinder to my children, my neighbors. I want to quit doing some of these ugly things that I'm doing. I want to be more patient in traffic. Every time you start to do any one of those, including the patience in traffic, which is tough for all of us, you're going to find resistance. You're going to find people seeing you're going upriver and they're floating downriver and you're doing something different, and they don't like it. They don't like it at all. They're going to try and bring you down. They're going to tell you, where are you going? What are you doing? We're all going this way. You're going the wrong way when you're going the right way. It says in the Bible that few find it, and it's harder to pass through, to get into heaven than for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. So it's going to take work, folks. If you're going to start living this kind of life, you have to remember what we're talking about in these videos. It's daily. It's multiple times a day. It's constant. Because the second you get it, the next second, something's trying to bring you down. There's as much resistance on the other end. The evil in this world is ready to meet you toe to toe. It isn't like you beat him and then you get the rest of the day good. You're golden. Multiple times a day, he says. All right? The best way to befriend your problems is to thank me for them. This simple act opens your mind to the possibility of the benefits. You can even give persistent problems nicknames, he talks about. We just said all this. The next step is to introduce them to me, enabling me to embrace them in my loving presence. I will not necessarily remove your problems, but my wisdom is sufficient to bring good out of every one of them. All right, that's a mouthful right there. So you give them the nicknames, and you're working on it all day long, multiple times a day. And he says the next step is to introduce them to him, present them, bring them to the foot of God. Petition your prayers. Father, here's all my situation. You know what they are before I even ask you, actually. I surrender them to you. This issue I'm having with this person, this issue I'm having at my job, my finances, my anything and everything that's an issue, I present it to you. This is nothing for you. It's like a mountain to me. I don't want to deal with it. I don't like the anguish. I don't like the worry and the stress. And he says, I love you, my child. Just go ahead and leave them right here. I'll take care of them. Go on about your way. Just don't forget about who's with you. Always keep me in your presence. Always keep me in your heart. Always keep me in your mind. Always thanking me for working on these things for you all day. While you're enjoying yourself, and I'm giving you this love, this freedom, this awesome life that I'm going to show you, you can defeat your issues. Don't forget that I am working over here for you. And don't forget that you presented them to me and I'm doing this for you. Always thanking him. And then that way you keep the gas in the engine going for your happiness to keep coming and keep flowing. The more mindful you are, the more you'll get. It's when you forget and you start going over here, things are going along pretty good. Then you meet somebody that's going downriver and they turn around and grab you and hook onto you, start dragging you down, and all of a sudden you start feeling negativity, start thinking negativity, and you totally forget about God. You get amnesia. It happens. It takes work, a lot of work, but you can do it because he says, I will never give you more than you can handle. So just remember that one. I will not necessarily remove your problems, but my wisdom is sufficient to bring good out of every one of them. His wisdom. You can be wise. You get smarter. You start remembering things. You can quote verses. You start growing, and things become easier and easier. Now, those people trying to pull you down river, you can actually snatch them and go, no, no, no. Let me show you a better way. Swim with me. Let's go this way. And when you can explain it to them, they're like, oh, that does sound good. And then that's how we get out every day and we promote. And what we're commanded to do is to love one another and to spread the good news. And that's just the bottom line is we are a creation of him in his image. We were born into sin. We were dirty, rotten scoundrels. He came down and he said, I'm going to create a new life for you. And all you have to do is surrender your life to me. And then if you keep me mindful every day with all your issues, I will give you a new life, and then I will build you in your character and in your wisdom. And then you can then again do my work for me. He's creating soldiers. He's training us because that's what we're here to do. We're his creature. We're all his creature, but we've lost our way. Find your way back and find the Lord, watch things, listen to things, read your Bible, study on it, pray, petition every day, multiple times a day, and continue to crush it for Christ.